Hey everybody, this is Chris from DoubleTroubleTandem, and today we're going to teach you how to make a bash guard for the bottom tube of your tandem. That way, when you high side your tandem on a log or a jump, you don't end up denting your frame. For today's project, we're going to need a number of tools and supplies. First off is we're going to need a piece of PVC pipe. In this case, we used 1.5 inch PVC pipe, which was the right size for our frame, which was 1.75 inches in diameter. Then we also need a tape measure, a marker, blue painter's tape, optionally duct tape, sandpaper, materials to clamp the tube as you cut it, optionally a level, something to cut the tube with. In this case, we used a 4-inch angle grinder with a diamond blade, and then personal protection equipment to keep ourselves safe while we make our cuts. So the first thing you'll need to do before you can even begin this project is measure the diameter of the bottom tube on your bicycle. For a salsa powder keg, it's about 1.75 inches, which is the width across here. So then what we did is we chose a piece of ABS pipe that was slightly smaller. That way when you snapped it on, it would hold instead of shaking loose. In this case, we used a 1.5 inch piece of ABS that we bought from Home Depot. The next step is that you need to measure the length between your two bottom brackets. So for us, this is about 27 inches, which we went ahead and we marked out here. So we measured from the end of the pipe to where 27 inches was, and I put a piece of blue tape, that way I could see the mark, and then I marked it. And now we're gonna go ahead and cut the pipe. All right, so the next step is to cut a segment out of the pipe. So you need this to be small enough that you still get the edges of the pipe that go up, that way it can still snap onto your bottom tube, but also still not so big that it falls off. So in our case, the size of our tape was actually perfect when we did it, which is 1.75 inches. Note that's the circumference, not the diameter, and so even though it's the same as the diameter of the tube, it still is actually a smaller opening. So since it's the same as the tape, what I'm going to do here is I went ahead and I put a piece of tape long ways, but I want to make sure it's straight. So I'm going to put a mark here and here on the outside of this piece of tape I did long ways. But to make sure that I get my tape straight, I'm going to go ahead and put my pipe with a level on the ground, and then I'm just going to spin it until the level is straight with the mark that I made. And that should allow me to put a mark at one end and the other end, which will approximately be straight. And I'm going to do the same for the second cut. Note that if your cut's smaller than your tape, what you can do is that you can put the tape down the side of the pipe to start with, and then just use this same technique to draw a line down the whole way, and you can cut it using the line. Now that we've put the mark, I'm going to go ahead and run just a piece of tape down our tube, and I'm going to cut at the edge of our tape. So put this edge here, then flatten it out, and fold it over. I'm gonna run it down. All right, so now I know what I'm gonna remove. So I'm just gonna cut. Next step is I'm gonna put this on the software. So I'm gonna cut down the two sides and remove this piece of plastic. All right, so now that we have the tube marked for our cuts, we're gonna go ahead and cut it. So the first thing that I did originally was I made my cut at a right angle to the outside of the tube, but this turned out to be really hard to snap on. So what we're actually gonna do is we're gonna try to come more straight down. That way when we try to snap this tube onto your bottom tube, it'll go on a little bit easier and won't get caught up as much. So again, we're going to come in kind of a little bit more of a steep angle and then do both sides of this tape, and so we're going to do that cut right now. So now we've got a nice open piece of pipe with, like I said, steep angles in here, steep angles in here. The next two steps we're going to do is to make it get on a little bit easier. We're going to cut a chamfer going this direction on at least one side, which will help us get a starter to help spread this pipe around the bike. And then also what we're gonna do is we're gonna sand this top edge, because this top edge is extremely sharp. All right, and with that, we have our finished bash guard. So what we did for ours is we took and we put duct tape on the frame first. And so we actually went above where the bash guard sits. And then we started with the end that we'd cut a little bit wider, and we stuck it on the frame, and then we actually used a mallet, and we worked our way down to snap it on the frame, and now you can see it's good and tight. So hopefully you guys find this useful and you're able to make a bash card of your own. And we'll see you again next time. Thanks.